Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the first show of the new year. This is TBIT. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Regardt and with me is Neo as always. How's it, sir?
Hi guys, how you doing? And hi Regardt.
Welcome. Survived the new year?
Yes, of course.
Barely.
Yeah, we're here in good health and ready to rock.
And fortunately, we were ready to rock with some new devices we've been playing with.
Of course.
Now, as a long-time Mate 20 Pro user, I love this phone so much. This phone has allowed me to take photographs that I sell, it allowed me to shoot videos that I turn into ads, and it just works non-stop. It's about 2 years old now, and I haven't had the reason to upgrade yet. But as you know, we spoke in December, we both had the need to look at other devices.
Yes.
Yours ran into some mishaps.
Yeah, I had an issue with my phone where it just, let's say, suddenly decided it's game over for itself.
Game over.
Yes, and that was a traditional Google device. So I was looking at using a Huawei phone, and given the situation with Huawei and Google, I was like, how am I going to do that? You know,
I was in the same position. So there frankly isn't any other device I want to upgrade to, right? From this Huawei Mate 20 Pro, Samsung has never really appealed to me. I mean, the costing is prohibitively expensive. I don't want to go into an expensive contract again.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay,
and I think a lot of people are in this boat.
Yeah.
What is a great phone? I'm kind of over the Apple ecosystem. I'm an Android kind of, open source player for life.
Yes.
So we both had this question. I reached out to Huawei and they sent us these devices to try out. And this is the show where we're going to talk about that experience. So please do stay tuned. Let's get into all the nitty gritty details. So Neo, you've been using this phone for about a month now. Before we get into the details of our experience, I just want to kind of talk to our viewers about the run-up into how Huawei got into the situation briefly. Remember in 2019,
yes,
the US kind of blocked Huawei across the board in terms of their devices to access Google services.
Yes.
Now in China, Huawei is obviously already not been using Google services, so they have built a system for them now. You have Google mobile services, which the Google platform is built on, and Huawei built their own Huawei mobile services, right? So it's not, we've seen this before. Amazon did the same thing with their devices. They've got their own app store. In fact, you can still load their app store onto any other devices, any other Android devices. But yeah, so Huawei found themselves in a position where worldwide they could not sell new devices with Android on it, right? I think it scared a lot of people off. It scared me off certainly because I wasn't sure about that upgrade path, and knowing that I won't get some of my Google services, it obviously was a problem. So just some numbers to share with you. As of H1 2020, the app gallery has reached 261 billion app downloads. And as of 2020, the app gallery had 490 million users in over 170 countries.
That's substantial.
So, I mean, the numbers are good. They do, I've seen a lot of support for developers. So the picture I'm trying to establish here is that we're not looking at a kind of a smallish ecosystem. I was surprised when I saw how vast the mobile services are, and particularly, how the app ecosystem and how you get access to some of those apps, even though it's a little bit more limited, which we'll chat about that now. But let's first address that elephant in the room.
Yes. So
Google mobile
services. Yes, that's what's actually my biggest concern coming into this phone, because I was using, as you know, a normal Android device with Google mobile services on. So moving on to this one, I wasn't really sure what apps was I going to have to get rid of, which ones could I stand not having to use, anymore. And surprisingly, I could use all of them. Right now, as I speak to you, I have all my services and applications working on this Huawei Y7P that were working on my previous phone with the Google.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think barring one or two apps, Google specific apps, but there's ways around it. We'll talk about that just now. Yeah, I've also been very happy with the transition. In fact, as a Mate 20 Pro user, right, it was easy for me. I basically started up the new phone. There's an app on there called Phone Clone. I think you had to download it.
Yes, I had to download it.
The P40 was the first one that came with it installed or something, pre-installed. And transferring old Android data to your new phone is very easily done using this process. You basically connect you put the phone in pairing mode. It's very easily done. It's kind of very intuitive in how it does it. You don't have to fiddle with too many settings.
Yes.
And it transferred virtually everything, barring some of the Google apps, of course.
Yeah, it did everything on mine. And for the apps where it actually didn't transfer the app, I just got a shortcut allowing me to re-download the application as well from there.
We'll go into details of that. I don't want to give away all the secret sauce earlier. No, I'm just joking. But that is definitely the way to do it, right?
Definitely.
Shortcut, everything is web services, but I do want to have a separate conversation about that. This is essentially an Android-based device.
Yes.
Minus
The Google mobile services.
Mobile
That's
services.
literally it. And because it's Android based, Android 10 on this phone particularly, you can use any of the applications actually, if you, for as long as you have the access to the APK.
Yeah, yeah.
And what makes that possible is obviously the store that they have and the pedal search.
Now let's talk about the device. Let's kind of rewind half a step and talk about the device. Out of the box, what is your impression about your Y7P?
I'm actually surprised because that's why I was asking you, what is actually the price of this? You would not believe that this is a 4,000 Rand phone or
I should have
roughly
kept it a
around that
surprise
price.
and just kind of revealed it to you on show. Like, it's only under 4,000 Rand.
Yeah, like those infomercials used to do, just 4,000 for all of this. It's actually pretty fantastic.
Insane price.
It's an
and the P40 Lite goes for just under 7, so between 6.5 and 7 grand. I mean, that's also an insane price for what you get out of the box.
It's very, very good. And in fact, I'll make you an example. So this is 4 gigs of RAM on this one, right? And I assume that's the price. So around you get 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. It's very hard to get that at that price, actually. Yeah. I've looked, and a lot of the phones that come in at that price range are looking at 2 gigabytes of memory or maybe even 3G. And the thing is, that sort of memory makes a big difference in terms of performance, opening applications and so forth. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, and this one's got the 128, it's obviously slightly more advanced, kind of got slightly higher specs.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was a 2 grand difference. And dare I say, we sound like fanboys here, but I think we're both pleasantly surprised by the offering.
Yeah.
Especially my strong hesitation with the Google, the Huawei App Store. I mean, I know they've been spending a lot of effort in building it, and I don't see any other kind of company really pushing this hard to get their services onboarded about paying developers, which is fantastic to see. So, I mean, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but damn, I am impressed with what this offering is. And so much so that, I'm now feeling a lot more confident about the upgrade. Because I still need to see a device that's going to equal my Mate 20 Pro in some ways, especially with gaming performance. We've spoken about this often. I do a lot of mobile gaming, and just performance is very important to me, and battery life, of course.
Actually, talking about battery life, again, another surprising thing. For the price of this phone, you get a 5,000 milliamp battery. That's crazy.
That's true.
On such a phone.
That's
and
true.
It lasts for days on end. Literally. I've used this phone for an entire day. When I left the house and it was at 35%, and I came back and I still had battery. So for me, again, build quality, how a phone feels in your hand is really fantastic. And it speaks to just overall presentation and how this is my first Huawei device. This is my first experience with a Huawei device. And I must say, I am more than impressed. I just didn't expect this kind of build quality at this price. Good. Traditionally, I've always used Samsung phones. So leaving Samsung and coming to Huawei now, I was not really expecting much. I'd heard people say that Huawei makes great phones, but I had no first-hand experience with it. And usually when you go to a new phone brand, you will experience the high-end version. So you'll go with whatever, an iPhone, whatever it may be. Okay, well, an LG, one of the high-end LGs. But this is actually a entry-level. I would say this is...
Yeah, I would say, it's entry-level in terms of their range of phones. This is a very popular.
So this is entry-level, and the build quality says nothing about it being entry-level. It's just absolutely fantastic. It feels so solid, and even with the cover, which you do get with the package as well, it just feels even more sturdier. I think it's... I am a fanboy. He doesn't want to sound like a fanboy, but I am a fan because
Technically, I am because I'm a Huawei user, but yeah, definitely super impressed. I mean, the other thing that I love is the fact that they've kept the old 3.5mm jack, right?
Yes, actually, I do appreciate that because most phones are getting rid of that, and this is still there. Okay, obviously as well they have
USB-C, yeah.
This is not USB-C, right?
Mine is USB-C.
So you get USB-C on that one.
Yeah.
But some people are like, oh, I wanted USB-C, but then again,
check. What is this? Not USB-C? Oh, that's still mini USB.
It's still mini.
Well, yeah, that's obviously a sign of entry-level versus...
It's entry-level. But then again, if you are looking at a phone at this price range, chances are a lot of your other devices are not USB-C anyway. Yeah. Okay, so that's really not a trade match for me.
I would also say that most customers of this phone, or most people that's going to upgrade to this device, is probably going to have more legacy charging devices than the new... I still only have one USB-C cable. Like that's,
exactly.
Well, I've got a couple of cables, but only one way to really charge anything. It's just a cable. I don't have any other accessories. So most of the things is pretty useless to me. Exactly.
It's definitely not an issue for me. Camera quality, again, something that I'd heard people talk about on Huawei phones. It is really good. The specs may not tell you so because it only records at 1080p right? 60 FPS or 30 FPS.
Let's
But
be honest, he needs more.
who does need more? And the quality that you get is actually better than the phone that I use right now for doing all my recordings.
Exactly. I think most consumers, and I think this is where Huawei hits the nail on the head. We are very technical users, so
Yes.
I mean, we can still nitpick a lot of things about the device that we would like to see change. But if I gave my parents this device, for example, some of my family members, my brother,
Yeah.
they would be more than happy with anything that's on here, unless obviously there's an app that they can't get hold of and they can't download the APK.
Yeah,
but
of course.
that'll be a rarity. I mean, with most apps, and I think let's segue to that very nicely now. Most apps, third-party apps, have got an APK that you can download,
Yes.
and it's done very easily
Oh, of
using either
course.
Petal or the app gallery.
Yeah, that Petal application or store or search, if you
Search
will,
engine, yeah.
that search engine works so flawlessly because I found everything. So all your social media stuff, so you're talking Instagram, your WhatsApps, your Facebooks, and whatever else that you may be using, it's easily available here just by downloading the APK. And even such services that you would think are tied to Google, like YouTube, I was able to get that working
I would
here.
Chrome like that, yeah.
Log in and basically use it as I would normally, you know. So in terms of the applications that I need that I was using on the previous Android device that had Google mobile services, I've lost literally nothing. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everybody, but for my use case, I've lost literally nothing. I've actually just gained a better hardware, better build quality, better everything. So yeah, again, if it's sounding like I'm a fanboy, that's because I am.
Oh, nice.
This is
Well, so we spoke about Petal, and for those who don't know, so Petal is essentially a new search engine, or Huawei's own search engine that they released last year. And it's kind of optimized for kind of the new way that their phones work. And I say new way loosely because it's nothing different to what you know. It's just optimized for their platform. So Petal Search, like a normal search engine, works as you would expect. It brings up search results, including Bing search results, interestingly.
Yes.
But it also has an apps tab. So if you're searching for Spotify, for example, which is not on the app gallery,
yes.
you can download Spotify because it'll come up as an APK download. And
Exactly.
I mean, I would say a little bit of education is required, but Petal search over any other, like a Google search, would give you trusted results. And that's what makes it better than just doing a Google search for an APK. You want to download an APK directly from the source, and that is, you can see where you download it from with the Petal search. So Spotify, you do a quick search, it shows you, okay, downloading this APK from Spotify, 2 clicks, and you've got the app. I mean, it's very much like you would do with any PC, right? You have an operating system and you put everything else that you want on there.
Yes.
You have to just make sure your source is trusted. And the reason why I say it like this is because even on the verified Google Play Store and even on Apple to a lesser degree in many ways, well, I think Apple has got Apple is a lot more secure in this way. But on the Google Play Store, there's still a lot of clone apps.
Definitely.
You still come across apps that aren't what they make out to be. You know, if you download from the source, you know you want to get Spotify from Spotify, Instagram from Instagram. You know, there's no reason to have a Play Store if you just change the way you work. And that's what I kind of find pretty appealing about this, to be honest with you. It kind of throwback to old PC days.
Yeah, I really thought that would be a big deal with the whole Google mobile services thing, but it actually isn't in real terms. Once again, I was able to use Google Maps and everything else. It's more academic, this different rather than practical, because when the rubber meets the road, you can actually use this as you would any other phone. Let's put it to you like this. I would definitely get another Huawei phone after this experience.
That's good.
I would definitely get another Huawei phone. I don't think not having Google mobile services affects me at all.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, especially Google Maps. I haven't actually tried to install Google Maps because I haven't been going anywhere, right? So I didn't actually have a need for it.
Of course.
But so you say you got it on Petal and it installed flawlessly?
Yeah, it works. I've been using it. I even navigated to your place using that just to test. It works. Got me here.
So what's the only thing you can't get natively then? I mean, what's the only Google Drive, for example?
Google Drive, obviously, you're not able to get that.
The other thing that I struggle with, that won't work, is the games, the game side of Google Play Store, where a lot of games are integrated into that system where you can get points and ranks.
Oh,
and
yes,
like
that you won't be able to do.
But PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty.
PUBG, I was playing that over the weekend and that worked very well. I think for the vast majority of people, they'll be able to get everything that they actually want, including games, including your social media apps and everything else that you may need.
You're a Fortnite player.
Fortnite, not so much.
Because that also made, that's a very interesting
Can
point.
you play Fortnite on this?
So remember, Epic Games is in a big feud with Apple because they want lower fees, right? So they're pushing for their own launcher. So they've got a game launcher that you can download for Android and for Huawei, of course. And within that launcher, you can download whichever games they have made available. So Fortnite's in there, and there's another game which I haven't played. So yeah, Fortnite works on this because you're downloading it from the source via their launcher. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot, especially in the game space, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this from developers. But I also think, you know, we're going to see a lot more developers start taking this platform seriously, to be honest with you. You've got a massive audience waiting for your app, right? For those people that don't want to sideload anything, which I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, if you're a little bit hesitant, I can understand. But it's something that you can easily verify and install. And you know, you've got the same experience as you would, and you don't even notice the difference. So I think the next 5 years is going to be interesting as we've seen with any of these, you know, even Google, Android went through this kind of growth phase where they were the big opposition and what are they doing? And
yeah, of course.
And I find this interesting, you know, another player in the market space that can do something well, give me another, and to be honest with you, the price is a big thing, yeah? Price,
yeah, like I said, in fact, I'll be surprised if there's any other phone at this price point that can match this. I would like to know.
Well, I think we should search, and if you have a phone, let us know what you think. I mean, what is your favorite phone? And if you're a Huawei user, what Huawei device do you use, and what are your opinions of it? I speak a lot to the PUBG mobile community through Battle Room Browser Mobile Gamer, and when I speak to a lot of the guys, a lot of them, a surprising amount of them have Huawei phones, especially the newer ones like the P40. It's a very popular device because of that price point, especially in the times you are in. I mean, we don't have much disposable income.
Exactly, and that's such a good point, because you have to realize where the world is right now. Economies are not doing so well. And this is an opportunity for Huawei to do, you know, amazing things, because they're giving you all the features that would otherwise cost you twice as much if you went with another brand.
Totally.
You know.
So, I mean, we're going to try and do this as a slightly longer term test, and we will report back and kind of keep you updated with our findings. I mean, I'm certainly enjoying my time with this. I mean, it's strange to think that my opinion about a platform has changed so much. Well, I was hesitant. I was worried that I would ruin my experience of the phone that I loved with a new marketplace that's kind of seemingly underpowered. And while, you know, not every app is just popping up in your face there, like you've said, you know, you've kind of got everything that you need on your phone without much hassle.
Yeah, it's look, I mean, it obviously, I think depending on how old you are and what you do with your phone, there may be different limitations. But for where I am right now, and for the things I do, there's literally no difference between this and using a traditional Google-supported device. There literally just isn't. And what I appreciate here is that I'm getting such good hardware. You know, maybe it's the geeky in me. Like I said, I get 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, an IPS display, fantastic camera, long battery life. You know, it's everything that I actually wanted. If I had to write down a list and check things off that I need, it checks out most of them. And then the only thing where I might have slight issues would be the applications. But as we've discussed, I have everything I actually need. So it ticks all the boxes that I need. And for $4,000, wow, I'm still in shock.
And to me, as is proof with my Mate 20 Pro, good hardware build is everything. I mean, Apple has been doing this for years, right? The devices are hellishly expensive, but the build quality, I mean, those things last. I've got an old iPad. Second, it's starting to lose access to the apps now that I can't upgrade certain things, which sucks. But I mean, the hardware's still fine, so it's almost its own worst enemy in that sense. But I've got no doubt that you're going to get a lot. The upgradability, the software upgradability of this, or the software maintenance on this, is going to be a lot longer than most other devices.
They've knocked this out the park. Like, again, you're talking to someone who's never used a Huawei device before, and who, as I said before, would traditionally just enter at the high end. But now I'm coming in at the low end, and I'm still coming away so impressed. You know, I can imagine what the other devices, the high-end devices, are capable of doing. You know.
Okay, so we sound very glowy about this because we are. But what are the shortfalls? What to you are the things that you look at this device and go,
Okay, I've always been a fan of the slightly smaller phones. I just think this form factor is a little bit big, you know. But again, it more than makes up for it because I have my fingerprint sensor at the back, so accessibility is not too much of an issue. The face recognition didn't work so well for me. It needed like really bright lights. Basically, I needed to be outside all the time, so it didn't
blow you away. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It didn't work so well for me. But again, it's not something that I would want to use often anyway. I think this, because I always have my phone like this fingerprint sensor works. It's very fast, very responsive, and very sensitive, sensitive as well. Outside of that, I would have liked a slightly higher resolution on the screen, because this one I think is 1600 by 720p.
Yep.
720. I would have thought that it would get something like a 1080 display, but obviously that's still in the high end or for more mid-range performance. But still, the pixel density looks great. It's an IPS display, and it's quite fantastic to actually look at, especially when you're watching videos.
And they ship a charge in the box. Everybody's going without chargers these days, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they actually have a charge in the box too. And headphones. I mean, who else does it these
Actually, that's true. That's true. That's really true.
So, I mean, my comment would largely mirror yours in that, I mean, well, with this phone, there's a lot less to be unhappy about. The screen resolution, 1080p, 128 gigabytes of storage RAM, 6 gigabytes of RAM, obviously. I mean, everything is what you'd expect for the price range. In fact, you're getting a little bit more. The fingerprint sensor on the side is very cool. I do like that a lot. So that's probably that is one of the big differences between the screen resolution actually is pretty sharp. I mean, you can look at those images. Yeah. We'll do some close-up shots of these, you can see. But look, really my only kind of bother was, one, the worry that I won't find the apps that I need, and then two, just that, you know, it's comfortable having a fully supported Android device.
Yes.
You know, it's just comfortable. Okay, everything works. I don't have to worry about it, you know. But this has changed my mind too. I'm definitely, as soon as the next high-end Huawei is available, potentially in the Mate range, I'm definitely going to upgrade, because at some point I'm going to need a new phone.
Yes.
We will be using these for a while to kind of go through them, test them, long-term review, and just kind of see how this stacks up in our day-to-day lives. We'll obviously be testing other devices too, and we'll be getting other devices from Huawei too to show you. But I think from, you know, this year our plan is to obviously look at a lot more of these kind of devices that matter to us and most of the population. You know, everybody has a smartphone for a lot of reasons. Do you stay in contact just by phone calls? Most of us use WhatsApp. Social media is very big. And I mean, honestly, my second reason for having a smartphone is games. Smart mobile gaming is kind of, you know, there for me. It's what I need to do instead of a console. So I would be, you know, happy to spend more money on a phone if I get that value. But 20, 30 grand for a device? No, thank you.
I don't think any of those devices that are 20 or 30 grand are that much better than what you get here. They're that significantly better. Like for a 4 grand phone, I don't think a phone that's 16 grand is 4 times as good. There's just no way. Exactly. At least for my use case, I just don't need any of the other stuff that they would be selling with such a phone.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below. We will explore the question if it's something we don't have the answer to, and kind of test it out on the phone and get back to you. But for now, I think the overall takeaway here is there really isn't, you're not losing much. You're not losing anything, in fact, unless you are an absolute noob and you don't really want to mess with, you know, anything out of a comfort zone. I can understand why you might be hesitant. But to be honest with you, for everybody else, it's a very smooth experience. Upgrading from old devices is very smooth. And getting access to the apps is, you know, easy, if not easy in a way.
It's a lot easier than you think it would be, you know. With the phone cloning application that you spoke of earlier, it actually facilitates that and makes it so much easier for you transitioning to using Google mobile services free device.
Yeah. Of course, we didn't speak much about the real tech aspect or the technical specs. I mean, let's be honest, for the most part, you know, entry-level, mid-range, high-end devices, you kind of know where you play in, you know, within those parameters. The devices also perform so well, you know, unless you are a real geek, you're not going to be too worried about it. But do go check out GSM Arena. We will have the specs also linked in the post. So if you want to go check it out, you know, just kind of double check all the specs that are in there, please do so. But yeah, I think I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this HMS services can bring. And they can probably do some really impressive stuff. I must also mention, if you're a developer, and again, this is not a paid for ad, but I read that like educational apps, they get 100% of their own revenue, which is interesting.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then other developers for
huge
games and
incentive.
things, yeah, they make a lot more money than what they would on. So again, you can see why Huawei is doing this. They're trying to build their audience. So I mean, they have to kind of play this game. But it's good to see that there are some developer support.
That's a great incentive for developers as well. And as you said, there are millions of people on this platform already. So it's not like you're just making an application for a handful of people or as very small.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot. In fact, there's a lot more people who will have access to that than the people who had access to the Microsoft devices when they were in the phone space.
I mean, the underlying technology is still Android, so right,
Yeah.
you're getting a familiar experience still. But I think we've waffled on enough. We've established that Nao's a fanboy. I'm a skeptical fanboy, although I've got heritage with my old device. And again, not a paid for ad, but I thank you, Huawei, for getting us these devices. I think it's mind-opening. It's definitely been mind-opening.
Oh, definitely. Completely. Absolutely completely. I was just thinking, it's going to be so bad for Huawei. And look, here I am. I'm actually experiencing Huawei after the separation with Google.
Yeah.
And I'm still as impressed as I would have been before, at least I think.
Nice. Well, we'll be chatting about these phones and a lot of other devices this year. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Do like and subscribe to the page and check out tbit.co.za if you want any more information on Nao myself.
Yep.
Until the next episode. Thanks, Nao. See you soon.
Until the next time. Peace.